ability for you to record local files, and we'll get started in just a moment. Our media availability this afternoon will include collection of PWHL players, both veterans and rookies from all six PWHL teams. We've got two players per team in 15-minute segments. So without further ado, we're going to get started here with the New York Sirens. And I'm pleased to welcome rookie Sarah Fillier and captain Micah Zandy Hart. We'll take questions in just a moment and ask folks to please use the Zoom console to raise your digital hand. When we do get to the Q&A portion, please limit your questions to one question and one follow-up. We do have a lot of media participating today, so in the interest of hearing from a variety of folks, again, please limit your questions to one. And if we have time within our 15-minute segments, we can go back and hear from everybody once again. We'll start by hearing from our captain, Micah. Perhaps just tell us what it feels like to get the PWHL season underway, putting some points on the board and getting some wins under your belt.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I think it feels good. Obviously, it was a long off season, so I think everyone in the league and everyone around the league was really eager to get going, and you saw it with the excitement the build up before the first game and this opening weekend. I think for us, it's never easy to start the season with three road games. But I'm really proud of the way that our team handled those three games, and I thought to come out with the points that we did out of those games was a great way to start, and we're just excited to keep that rolling.
Sarah, for you, your first three professional games in the PWHL. Certainly, I'm sure you're pleased with the point production, but getting a couple wins is also, I'm sure, to your pleasure. So please just take us through your first performances with the Sirens and how you've adapted to the league and with your teammates.
Yeah, it was a pretty long off season from the draft until training camp started. So a ton of excitement coming into camp and kind of being able to make an immediate impact to New York's lineup. It's been great playing with Jesse and Alex so far. Like I said, we've had a pretty tough start to the season with three road games. So excited to get a good amount of points out of those games. But this break's pretty good for us to regroup and get excited for our home opener.
Take questions now, beginning with Kyle Cushman, please.
Kyle Cushman with the score. Thanks for taking the time today. First for Sarah, 3 games in the books now. How has the level of play and physicality compared to your expectations coming into the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you can get on the board early and kind of get the monkey off your back with a few points and a goal. So it started off pretty well, and I think physicality was going to be a big thing coming into this year, and I did the best I could this summer to prepare for it. But I think when you go to new teams or new leagues, there's always some adjustment period. But luckily, I've been able to have some pretty great teammates to help me kind of get through that learning curve pretty quickly in these 3 games.
And for Micah, just being healthy at the start of this season, how was that kind of allowed you to start the season very well and kind of impact your play compared to the start last season?
Yeah, I mean, being in the lineup is better than sitting in the stands, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm just happy. It was nice to get a full off season in of training and kind of, even like Philly said, just strengthening, getting ready for a physical year. So it's nice for me, especially as a captain, to be in every game and be able to help this team the best I can. Just grateful that I get to do that this year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. A reminder to folks, as you're called upon for questions, please introduce yourself and the media outlet that you are representing. It certainly helps us get to know one another in our media community. I'll go next to Madeline, please.
Hi, Maddie Kenny with the New York Post. Question for Sarah, just ahead of the home opener, what are you most looking forward to? I talked to your Princeton head coach today. She said that a few of them are going to take a train down. Just how cool is that to obviously be so close to your college grounds?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I've been able to represent the New Jersey community for a while, and now wearing a New York jersey, but still playing in New Jersey. It's kind of a cool mix of both. But yeah, I think I'm super excited to get my Princeton teammates up to watch us, but I have a ton of friends and family coming down from Toronto to watch. And this whole hockey journey through college, through the Olympics, through international gameplay, like it's been a huge group effort by my friends and family, and they've been just as much of a part of it as I've lived it. So for them to get to see me play pro, in person will be really cool.
Thank you.
Go next to Tyler, please.
Thanks, Paul. Tyler Kuehl here from Daily Faceoff. This one's for Micah. Micah, you saw Sarah kind of have a couple of rough moments in that game against Boston on Sunday. I was wondering what your thoughts would be on potentially maybe having body checking or body contact more allowed in the NCAA and the college game. So when players turn pro here and come to the PWHL, they're a little more educated on the physical nature of play. I'd like to know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I feel like it is a big change, as Sarah mentioned. Even coming from international play to this league, it's a lot different. So I think those kind of up and coming leagues starting to introduce it to prepare players for the way that our game is played would be awesome. With that being said, us as a league, we're still getting used to what's called and what's not, and what's allowed and what we can and can't do. So I think that would be a long term process to build that up and make sure that everyone's on the same page and we're doing it in a safe way, in a way that grows the game without maybe taking a step too fast one direction. So yeah, it's an interesting thought, and I think it would help a lot and help players prepare. But I think it would take a lot of work on the back end to build that process out.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Micah.
Go next to Carissa, please.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. Carissa Donkin with CBC Sports. One for you, Micah. We've talked a lot about the connection that Sarah and Alex have found playing together this season. Just from your perspective, can you talk a little bit about watching that develop, whether, you saw it kind of start to build in practice? Obviously, you've seen it play out in the preseason and then during the regular season in games. Can you just talk a little bit about what you've seen with them develop and why they work so well together?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I wear a different color jersey than them in practice, so I go against them all the time, which is fun. But yeah, I guess the first day, just seeing them on a line, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. Just they both see the ice so well. And yeah, you see it in practice, and I feel like they're constantly chatting and kind of work through things. And if things maybe don't go how they hope, then they talk about it and they change it up the next time. And I think obviously they both are very skilled, and you see that on the ice, but I think they just know the game so well too. Hockey IQ is really high, so I think we're all benefiting from them working together and vice versa.
Awesome, thanks. And just a quick one for you, Sarah. We've obviously talked a lot about your connection with Alex, but playing with Jessie, what does she bring to your line?
Yeah, I think I've said it before in answering this question, but I think her skill set is super underappreciated, I think, in this league. There's been a lot of me about me and Alex, but I think Jessie's right in there too, and a huge part of our line, and the success it's had so far. I think she thinks the game incredibly well, but she also has this. I think she is able to just slow the game down. Me and Alex like to play pretty fast and get up the ice pretty quick, but when she has the puck, she just has this like total confidence and poise, and I think she does a really good job at just finding us wherever we are on the ice.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Go next to Maddie, please.
Hi, it's nice to meet you both. I'm Maddie Herzig from the Associated Press. This is for both of you guys, actually. So we can start with Micah. What has it been like seeing the number of rookies start to produce so quickly to start this year? And did you necessarily expect that at all?
I mean, I think for me, looking at the draft class we had last year, I think it was incredible. I don't want to put down the next draft class, but I feel like it was a really special draft class with players coming from Europe and then also out of the NCAA and U Sport as well. So for me, I don't think it surprised me at all. I think we had players that were maybe coming out of 5-year college seasons where they had a lot of chance to develop. We had players that were in college but had an international experience, and we had players coming from just international experience in Sweden as well. So Yeah, I think for me at least, I think they've done kind of what I expected based on the draft class.
Yeah, and Sarah, I mean, on similar note here, but for you to be able to have so many members of your draft class also participate, what has it been like for you seeing some of the people that you played against in college also go out and be productive to start their careers?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Our draft class was super deep. I mean, teams were picking up really quality players even in the last rounds of the drafts who are making impacts right away on their teams now. So I'm definitely not surprised. I mean, even, we just played Boston and Bilka's on their first line, disrupting plays every time she's on the ice. And I'm pretty familiar with everyone I graduated with this year too, and familiar with the college game. So yeah, I'm not surprised. And like Micah said, I think everyone who got drafted last year was in their fifth year of college or had taken years off to play internationally. So I think everyone was kind of ready to make this jump.
Thank you both.
Go next to Jolene.
Jolene Latimer from The Score. Micah, this question is for you. What would you say is the biggest difference on the ice this year compared to last year? Is it that, girls are more comfortable with the physicality? Is it that the no escape rules making a big difference, or is there something else? Like, what would you say is standing out to you?
For the whole league or for our team specifically?
Just the games that you've played.
Yeah, I would say kind of, I guess, along the lines of what Philly just mentioned. I think just the confidence. I think, when we started this league last year, we had some players who had gone a couple seasons where they maybe only played 20 games or maybe less than that, like depending if you were in the PWHPA, maybe you were in the PHF, maybe you were in college. But we had some players that didn't have a ton of gameplay coming into a 24 game season. Whereas this year we have girls from last year that played a full season, and then we have all this draft class that were coming from a season previous as well. So I think it's just made the transition into gameplay a bit easier, and there wasn't as much of an adjustment period, leading to kind of the confidence you're seeing. And I think everyone's kind of that within each other.
And then I know the Takeover Tour is headed to Vancouver. Just as a BC native, what can you say about the appetite for women's hockey in the province?
Yeah, I mean, I'm jealous that I don't get to be out there for that game, but no, it's great. I mean, I think you've seen like some of the players that have come up like in Canada on the international stage. BC is producing a lot more players from when I came up when I was in high school. So I think the game's just continuing to grow across the country, but especially out west, and I think even in the western part of the US too. I think hockey's just continuing to grow, and you saw it in Seattle when the Kraken started. Like people want to watch hockey out there. And I think that game, I think it sold out pretty fast. So I think it'll be a great night out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll go next to Simran.
Hi, I'm Simran from Sports Girls Club. My question's for Sarah. Sarah, congratulations on being named the first star of the week this week. Is there anything coming into this league that has surprised you in just first 2 weeks of playing so far that makes you more excited for the future of this league?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think maybe just the fan support. I mean, I was a fan myself last year. I watched almost every game online, and it was exciting to see the fans, show up and show out at those games. But being able to be on the ice and experiencing it live, and just realizing how loud, the fans are, how into it they are to the games, has been a surprise, and it's super fun to play in front of.
Thank you.
And we'll take the last one from this session from Adriana.
Hey guys, thank you so much for meeting with us today. My first question is for Micah. So last season you guys played in 3 different arenas. So how does it feel to know that this season all of your games will be played at Prudential Center?
Yeah, it's exciting for us. We enjoyed our time at the Prudential last season, even though it was only 2 games. And I think, when you think about sports, like home field, home ice advantage, that's a thing. And I think last year we didn't really get the opportunity to build that, despite having some fans that did make the trek from rink to rink to rink. But I think for us, just to continue to build as the season goes on and see those familiar faces and really feel like when we step out at the Prudential, it's our home and we're not visitors as well. I think we're all looking forward to that opportunity.
Thank you. And then my other question is for Sarah. A lot of the plays this year for New York big plays. Your name has been a part of it. How has it just felt to be part of those big game moments?
Yeah, it's been cool. I think that's what I'm trying to do every time I step on the ice is make an impact positively for our team. And obviously can't do it without, the players that I'm on the ice with. But yeah, that's what I wanted to be able to bring right away. And, what I've worked this whole off season for is to help make an impact and help this New York team go on a championship run. So it's nice that it's clicking early.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
The New York Sirens open up at their home schedule next Wednesday night at Prudential Center against the Toronto Scepters. Thank you to Captain Micah Zandy Hart and rookie Sarah Fillier, the league's current top scorer, for your time this afternoon.
Thanks.
Keep things rolling right away. Welcome in members from the Ottawa Charge. We've got defender Ashton Bell and rookie forward Manon McMahon. They're joined together from their home in Ottawa. Welcome, Ashton and Manon. Exciting week for the Charge. A couple home games last week, opening at TD Place with a win and then playing at Canadian Tire Center. So tell us about the excitement, Manon, perhaps with you scoring your first career goal.
Yeah, I think it was awesome just to get the first games under the way, but just playing at home, getting that first goal, it was an amazing feeling. Just like being able to be around all the Ottawa fans that I've heard so much about since last season. But yeah, so happy to kind of get things started, especially with the amazing team that we have.
Ashton, for you, second season in the PWHL. Just take us through your first 2 weeks playing alongside some new teammates like Manon and others.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting this year just to see the depth kind of across the board in all 6 teams is pretty cool to see. And just on any given night, it's going to be a battle like it was last year, but especially this year, just with the new players coming in, like Manon herself, all the college girls coming up, just the skill and speed they bring to the game is awesome to see, and how much our game's going to keep progressing.
We'll take questions now for members of the Ottawa Charge. Once again, could please use the Zoom console to raise your hand. We'll go first to Ian, please.
Thanks, Paul. Ian Kennedy from the Hockey News. This one's for Manon. I'm just wondering if you could kind of communicate what's the biggest difference that you found or the biggest challenge moving from the NCAA into the pro ranks this season?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Obviously, the physicality is one piece that a lot of people talk about, but I think from my perspective, just like the pace of the game, just like from my first practice, pucks are moving so quickly. Everyone on the ice is fast. So in order to keep up with the pace, you need to play faster too. So I think that has been just the biggest adjustment for me, is just everyone kind of having that different level of compete and having to move pucks quickly, and just reading plays and the game more quickly as well.
Thanks. And to Ashton, kind of on the same topic, but what's the biggest difference that you find from last season to this season, whether it's with the Charge or in the league itself?
Yeah, I think kind of just what I said in the first question, the depth across everyone's lineup chart is insane this year. You're going to get everyone's best on any given night, and no matter what line's out there, no matter what D pairs out there, they're all very skilled forwards and can be a threat out there on the ice. So just knowing that, yeah, the depth across our team, especially, and other teams as well, is quite impressive.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Go next to Tyler.
Thanks, Paul. Tyler Kuehler for Daily Faceoff. This one's for Ashton. The Charge were one of the most active teams over the off season. Michael did a lot of changes, got a lot of new players, obviously, like Manon, a lot of rookies as well. How do you think this group has come together so far, including the first 3 games as well?
Yeah, I think really well. I think we learned a lot about ourselves in the first 3 games. Obviously, we lost our first one to Montreal in a shootout, which was a really close game, and then getting our first win in our home opener was pretty special, and then our game at Canadian Tire. But I think we learned a lot about our group and where we need to grow. But it's definitely exciting with the group we do have, and we think we could be very competitive this year. So we're excited.
Thank you very much.
Natalie, please.
unmute myself. Rookie mistake. My name is Natalie. I'm a reporter in the PWHL. I'm based in Boston, but I guess just looking ahead to, I guess your game there on Tuesday. I guess a question for Manon primarily first. I know that you were both teammates at Duluth, Minnesota Duluth. So I guess could you talk about what your relationship was like being college teammates and now bringing that to the pro scale, and just how that's kind of helped you both adjust and welcome a new friend back into the locker room?
Yeah, I think well the day I was drafted, Ashton was actually there, and Gabby too, who also played at Minnesota Duluth. But like right from the moment I got drafted, it was just like it felt right because I had two of my best friends there and we were really close in college too. So just like the transition from college to now has been a lot easier because I have some of my two best friends to like go through it with. And we live together too. So being together 24/7 feels like we're back at college again. But yeah, and then just like on the ice too, I feel like having someone that like I know and who knows me and like being able to like communicate stuff on and off the ice about like how we're feeling or whatever it is. But yeah, just like having a built-in best friend who I knew previously, but obviously it's been great to get to know all the other girls. But yeah, it's fun hanging out all the time again.
We can't get tired of each other.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Go next to Maddie, please.
Hi, Maddie Hertzik with the AP. This is for Manon. Obviously, you guys have had the experience of hearing your name called in the draft and everything, but to be able to finally have an opportunity to skate with the Ottawa Charged logo on, get your first couple games under your belt, what were the emotions of that like for you when you finally got to say, "Oh my gosh, I skated in my first PWHL game"?
Yeah, I think well since the draft and then I wasn't signed before training camp too, so I even think like going through the stress of training camp and then finally hearing like that I was on the team was like the biggest accomplishment. Like I had tears coming out of my eyes when they told me that news. So it's just been like a whirlwind of emotions. Playing in that first game was crazy. We played at Montreal, and obviously they have a great fan base, but all the girls were telling me that like it was going to be loud in there. There's going to be a lot of people, and I was kind of just like, okay, like I've played in front of people before, but I think playing in a PWHL game in a crowd like that was nothing that I would have expected. Everything that I've been through so far has exceeded my expectations, and they were already pretty high. So emotions are everywhere. I mean, I'm thankful. I'm in awe every single day, like getting to play with some of the best players in the world, and being able to represent an organization like the Ottawa Charge is incredibly special. So I'm very thankful.
Thank you.
We have a few more minutes with Ashton and Manon. If there are any new questions, please use the Zoom to raise your hand. And even if there are others who have already asked a question but have an additional follow-up, we will welcome those in the remaining minutes if there are. While we wait for folks to see if there's any additional questions, I know, Manon, you answered Natalie's question very well about Minnesota Duluth, but I'd like to maybe perhaps give Ashton an opportunity to talk about that Bulldogs connection with Manon and with Gabby.
Yeah, obviously it's pretty cool to be able to play college together and then now pro. We would have never expected that all three of us would have been here together 3 years ago when we were wearing the Bulldog. But yeah, it's pretty special because we have Maraska here as well that rep the Bulldog jersey as well. So it's pretty cool that we can all come back and reminisce about our years with the Bulldogs and stuff. And then just to see her playing her first pro game was pretty special. And to get her first goal that night too was pretty cool to watch her, just to see where she came from as a little freshman to now in her first pro league. It's pretty cool that we get to share all these moments together.
Thanks, Ashton. Jolene, please.
Jolene Latimer with the Score. Ashton, I have a question about the Takeover Tour, and I know you guys have some pretty cool stops. Raleigh looks like it's going to be amazing. I guess I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on anticipating those stops and the fact that the league and the sport can pull big crowds in neutral sites.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that we're part of three of those big games, three of those tour games. It's pretty special to be to play anywhere in any market, but especially the tour games are there's a definitely a different feeling there. And from last year, the success we had playing in different cities was overwhelming, and to be able to do that again this season, we're definitely excited about Edmonton and Quebec City as well. Me specifically Edmonton, as it's a little bit closer to home, so hoping to get some family out in that direction. But yeah, we're just excited to be a part of it and to get to grow the game in our league even more.
Thank you.
The Ottawa Charge return to the ice next Tuesday night when they hit the road to the Tsonga Center at UMass Lowell. They'll take on the Boston Fleet. Thank you to both Ashton and Manon for your time this afternoon, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the ice next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of the Boston Fleet, we'll get started, or we'll transition rather to our next session here momentarily. Stand by as we welcome in our next speakers. Please welcome from the Boston Fleet, we've got goaltender Aaron Frankel and rookie Hannah Bilka. Welcome, ladies. Aaron, we'll start with you. If you can just take us through the first three games of the Fleet schedule. I know you've been between the pipes for all three. I'm sure it was nice to get that win on home ice on Sunday, but maybe just take us through your performance individually and as a team.
Yeah, it's been really good to be back together in Boston. It was kind of a long off season. I know we've all been anxiously waiting for the first few games. And I think, yeah, we got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think we're kind of just finding our groove right now. And everyone's just excited to be back together. And obviously, the season's a long process, and we're just working on getting better each day. And personally, just, yeah, hoping to give our team best chance to win each start that I get.
And Hannah, for you, your first three professional games with the PWHL under your belt, how have you adapted, and just been what it's been like playing for the Fleet so far this season?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I think the level of competition in this league is so high. So every game, you're gonna have a close battle with the other team, and then obviously our team has just been I think learning every game and getting better every game. So it was really rewarding to get that first win for us on a few days ago.
If we have any questions for Aaron and for Hannah, we'll welcome those now using your digital hand on your Zoom platform. We'll begin with Natalie, please.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, Aaron. And I think I'm going to start with you. I think ahead of your game with Ottawa, I know that Gwyneth Phillips is someone that you only overlapped with one time at Northeast or 1 year at Northeastern, I think. But being a goaltender and coming from a school where goaltending was so strong, to see another former Husky now in the PWHL playing on the other end of the ice, how cool is that for you?
It's awesome. I think anytime I get to play against a teammate I've had in the past is a really cool experience. I think we have Northeastern alumni on almost every team now, if not every team. So it's just really fun. Great to see those people and get the opportunity to play against them. And obviously super happy for Gwen and being in Ottawa. I think it's an awesome place, and they have such a passionate fan base. It just seems like a great place to play.
And I just have a follow-up for Hannah. I guess just what is it like going up against Erin in practice? How difficult is it to get a puck past her, and how glad are you that she's on your team?
Yeah. I feel like we've been playing against each other all summer, and I feel like you really get to understand how good a player is every day. And Erin does that every day. She is always robbing me. So I mean, if you can score on her in practice, you can pretty much score in any goalie in the league. So to be able to play against her in practice every day, it's only getting us better. And yeah, we just have that confidence during the game because she's going to make that big save and give us a chance to win the game.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Next to Tyler, please.
Thanks, Paul. Tyler Kuehl, Daily Faceoff. This one is for Hannah. Hannah, we've talked to a couple of rookies already today, and Sarah Fillier and Manny McMahon. And I was just curious on, excuse me, on your experience so far with the physical level of play in the PWHL. Obviously, body checking's been kind of addressed with some of the new rules and new wording, but we've still seen a lot of physical play. And how have you experienced it so far, and what have you done leading to your rookie season to kind of prepare for it?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an adjustment, but you kind of learn ways to play your game by also balancing the physicality. I think just kind of keep moving your feet and always having your head up, knowing the play before you get the puck. So it's just little things that I think I'm learning every game and trying to get better at. But yeah, it's definitely, I think it makes the game overall more fun and competitive because people are playing with that extra edge.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Ian, please.
Thanks, Paul. Ian Kennedy from the Hockey News. This question's for Hannah. I'm just wondering what you think the biggest adaptation or change you've had to make jumping from the NCAA to the PWHL this season has been.
Yeah, I think just every team is going to give you a tough game. I think in college, not that you can take games off, but there's definitely a kind of a gap in the level of play with some teams. So I think, yeah, you just always have to bring your best every night, and any team can win.
Thanks. And Aaron, usually when we have these international breaks, you're part of them and pretty busy. What's it like to get this break in the season already and kind of reset from where you started to what you're going to do moving forward?
Yeah, it's been nice having this break to like work with our goalie coach and get to work on some areas of my game that I might not have time to get to when we're having a busy schedule with games and stuff. And last year around this time, we were traveling for the rivalry series, and I think a lot of us kind of felt that coming back from those trips and then having to adjust right away to being back in the pro season. So I think we definitely don't take these days for granted because it's really nice to have a stretch of time where we've been home in Boston, getting to relax a little bit more and having the downtime. But I know things are going to pick up soon. So yeah, just don't take these days for granted.
Thank you.
Go next to Maddie, please.
Hi, it's nice to meet you both. Maddie Ritzik with the AP. This is for Aaron. With the level of talent that's come in with this year's draft class, what has it been like playing against rookies that have been so productive to start their careers in the PWHL?
Yeah, kind of like Bilka was saying, there's just no nights off. Every team is so strong and so deep, especially offensively. Every team is pretty stacked with goal scoring ability. So you kind of have to be ready every shift, every shot of the game for me. And it's been fun though. It adds a challenge to the game playing against some of these young players with so much skill, so much talent, and it makes the games a lot more fun. And we saw a lot of that last year, but obviously this year we didn't expand and we just brought in more talent. So it's just an even more concentrated pool of the best players in the world.
And then to follow up on that, was that something that you had anticipated in the off season and training camp after the draft, or was this something that you're navigating and kind of understanding after these first couple games?
I think definitely I was anticipating this. Just even being friends with a lot of the players that just came out of college, they're incredible. And a lot of them were teammates of mine in the past with the national team and stuff like that. So to have them added to what was already such a strong league, it's just inevitably just going to continue to grow and get better.
Thanks so much.
Next to Jolene, please.
Jolene Latimer with the score. This question is for either one of you or both. When people hear that you play in the PWHL, whether that's fans, friends, family, how often do they ask you, oh, I heard that the league might be expanding, or what are your thoughts on expansion? Like, how often does that just come up in conversation with people?
I think a lot just because people are so excited right now and most recently the last couple of years about women's sports in general. And I think there are so many markets that want to have women's hockey come there. And we saw that last year, like for example, when we went and played in Detroit, um, it was a really special game and we had a ton of fans there. And I think that just goes to show that the markets are there and the fans want this league to expand and we do too. So it's really exciting. Obviously, we don't know anything right now, so we can't really give people any answers, but it's an exciting thing for people to be talking about, especially because it just shows the interest is there.
Would you say that's one of the most common questions that people ask you when they're talking about hockey with you?
No.
It's not? Okay. All right. Good to know. I would ask you more, but I don't want to take up everybody else's questions. So thank you.
Jolene, we can circle back if we have some remaining minutes. Next, we'll go to Sophia.
Hi, Sophia Blue from Minnehaha Academy in Minneapolis. How did being so close, like last year, to winning the Walter Cup and then you just lost, how has that really affected your mindset going into this season?
I think I don't think it affects us too much. I think we were hungry to win last year, being the first year, and yeah, like you said, as close as we got. And I think we are still hungry to win, and that doesn't change. I know if you ask the Frost that, they would say the same. They're hungry to win again. So I think that's just a credit to how competitive things are in our league and the rivalries that have already been built after year one and are going to continue to grow. So we definitely have the experience and we know what it takes to get back to the Walter Cup, but obviously it's a long season. So just focusing on staying present and doing the things right we need to do right now.
Thanks, Sophia. Next, we'll go to, I hope I say your name right, Vani.
Yeah, Bonnie. Thank you so much. Hi, Bonnie Hannamirian, Hockey News. Hannah, I had a question about last game. Can you talk a little bit about the emotions you felt having scored that goal and then having it be called off? It would have been your first PWHL goal. What was going through your head? What was happening during that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a goal, so I think it was pretty close, but it didn't fully cross the line. But I mean, I always just have a positive outlook. I'm playing with two great players and getting chances, so I know the goals will come. So yeah.
Thank you.
Do have a few remaining minutes with the Boston Fleet. If there are any additional new questions or follow-ups, we'll take those now. Jolene, back to you.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. So just out of curiosity, what is the most common question that people ask you when they hear that you play professional women's hockey?
I would say questions about physicality, maybe a little bit, just like how do you guys like the hitting and the rule change, adding that to the women's game. That's a pretty common one. Obviously, doesn't affect me as much as a goalie, but I think people are very interested in that aspect of the game.
Cool, thanks. It's helpful. Digging around for cool story ideas. So thank you.
Do you have anything to add to that, Hannah?
No, yeah, probably around the physicality. People are asking and very curious just because we haven't played pretty much our whole careers with physicality, and then to add it at the highest level, it's a bit of a change.
Understandably.
Ian, back to you.
I just want to ask both of you about the takeover tour. You're getting 3 stops, St. Louis, Buffalo, Seattle. I'm wondering if there's a specific location that you're specifically excited to visit or to play in front of.
I mean, I think Seattle, they have such a passion for women's hockey. So I know I wasn't there, but USA and Canada played a rivalry series game there, and it was one of the biggest crowds. So I know there's going to be passionate fans, so I'm really excited to play in front of them.
Yeah, going off that, I was a part of the group that went to Seattle for the rivalry series, and I had never been that far west before or to that city at all, and it was really fun. And their arena is awesome. They have like two jumbotrons, and it's just a really, really cool and unique arena to play in.
We'll go Natalie and then C to wrap.
Yeah, it's just a quick one. I asked Hannah what it was like playing against Erin in practice, but Erin, what does Hannah do that makes it difficult to play against as a goaltender?
She's just a natural goal scorer and always finds her way to the net, the front of the net. Definitely annoying for the defenders because she's super slippery and can get away. She's extremely fast and shifty. So I think especially in this league where goals are hard to come by, like having a player like her that is so fast and like tenacious around the net makes it really difficult, especially for goalies.
And on the Boston Fleet roster, who do you think has one of the hardest shots to stop?
I'm gonna go with Hillary Knight.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
C, you can proceed with your question, please.
Thank you. C. Benwell, Hockey News. I was just wondering about, the length of the season this year is a little bit longer, and maybe Aaron, you know what last year was like. It seemed to take a toll on players maybe by the end of the year. And have you shared information with Hannah or the rookies, or can you each speak to what you think the 30 game season will be like this year? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'll be great to play a few more games. I know last year was a long year, but we started off with a really long training camp and it took a while to get into the game action, which is the most fun part for all of us. So I'm excited. And I think just from a mental standpoint, knowing how long the year is, doing things outside of hockey that you enjoy and taking good care of your body, because with the physicality and the intensity of the games, there can be wear and tear on your body, but yeah, putting in time to take care of yourself and recover is super important.
Thank you all for your questions. Hannah and Aaron will be back on the ice in game action with the Fleet next Tuesday night at Saga Center at home against the Ottawa Charge. Thank you both for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to transition now to our fourth team session and welcome in members of the Toronto Scepters, including rookie Izzy Daniel and alternate captain and defender Renata Fast. Get them spotlighted on the screen here. Thank you, Renata and Izzy, for your time this afternoon. I know it's a off week across the PWHL for the international break, but I'm sure the team's been back on the ice practicing, gearing up for next week's road trip to New York. But circle back maybe to the first 2 weeks of the season. What's it been like being on the ice, Renata, back with with the Scepters in your second season with the PWHL? Maybe just kind of walk us through how the season's gone from your perspective.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome to be back. I think the group's been really enjoying we have a new space at our practice facility at Fort Performance Center. So that's been awesome to kind of get settled in with our group and have a nice locker room, a nice space to enjoy each other. And then obviously being back at Coca-Cola and building off of playoffs and how incredible the fans were there. So yeah, the first couple weeks of season 2 have been incredible. Yeah, we've been really enjoying ourselves.
Izzy, for you, your first taste of professional hockey in the PWHL. First 2 weeks included your first career goal. I'll just take us through that moment and just maybe some other highlights of your intro to the league.
Yeah, it's been great. I think just adjusting to life outside of in Canada too has been different just off the ice. But I think so far the best part has been getting to meet all my teammates and the coaching staff. They've all been super supportive and made me feel really comfortable, which has been important then to settle in on the ice. It's obviously exciting scoring my first goal, I guess, but overall it's just been a really fun experience. It's definitely more challenging than what I've been used to, but it's definitely really fun. I've kind of welcomed the challenge and I'm just excited to get better.
Thank you both. We'll take questions now. I see some folks raising their digital hands. For anyone that's just joined the Zoom meeting, please use that to indicate your interest in a question. I'll call upon you. Please introduce yourself and the media outlet you represent. We'll begin with Mike, please.
Hi, Mike Gantry from the Toronto Sun. Izzy, this one's for you. You kind of touched on it about, adapting to off the ice. I mean, the on the ice, I would assume for a player of your caliber would probably be even easier. And, now you're coming to a new country and you've got to adapt. What have been sort of or maybe you can get into that a little bit about how you've gone about adapting and how that process has gone for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. Canada's very similar to Minnesota in a lot of different ways, but just like little things, like the metric system or like the temperature and stuff like that is new to me. The currency, but it's been really great. I'm living with Julia Gosling, so she's been a big help. She's my chauffeur too around, so she's helped a lot. And then everyone's been super welcoming, and I felt really comfortable right off the bat. I feel like I'm kind of finally starting to open up and be myself, so that's a credit to my teammates. It's been a really great experience so far.
All right. Thanks, Izzy.
Go next to Simon, please.
Thanks. Afternoon, guys. Simon Hopkins, an independent journalist in Ottawa. Izzy, also directing this one at you. Obviously, there's an on-ice adjustment coming into the PWHL with the physicality and the hitting. But also interested to know how you've noticed an adjustment off ice in the way the PWHL approaches safety, concussion training, awareness, stuff like that, versus what you experienced at other levels.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the physicality is a lot more than what I'm used to in college, and I think players are even saying it's even more physical than their last season, the first season in the PWHL. So I think that's been an adjustment, just trying to put myself in positions where I'm not, going to hurt myself or I'm in a position to take a big hit is kind of something I'm trying to learn to minimize the contact I take as like a smaller player. But in terms of the concussion stuff, I mean, there's a concussion protocol in place in the PWHL that, we didn't have in college. And I think they're just a lot more conscientious and safe and aware of like if someone does get hit in the head, there's a process you have to go through. Unlike in college where you kind of just you got put in concussion protocol, but there weren't really steps you had to take to get back on the ice. It was kind of like how you were feeling and you just had the impact test. So I guess yeah, I think the PWHL is a lot more like specific in terms of coming back from a concussion, but I wouldn't know for sure.
Thank you. And Renata, following up with you in a similar vein, what I've heard from a lot of players is just being really thrilled at the physicality that was introduced last year. What's the sense from the players and how the league has managed safety, concussion protocol, and supplementary discipline?
Yeah, I think adding the physical play into our league was great last year, and we're continuing to build off of it this year. It's been a work in progress. There's no doubt about it. It's new to the players. It's new to the refs. It's new to the league in order to put a protocol in place. But I think something that they made clear coming into season 2 is that head contact and opposite direction hits were going to be a focus for them to make sure that there was discipline for that. So I think the league is taking the right steps to ensure that the players are safe while still allowing for the physical play to happen. But we do realize as players that everything's new. It's going to take time for everything to be sorted out and for calls to be made on a consistent basis. So yeah, but I think the league's aware of how they need to protect the players. And as the season goes on, I'm sure we'll get more and more clarity on what those calls will be and what additional discipline will be.
Thanks, guys.
Go next to Carol, please.
Hi, it's Carol Schramm from the Hockey News. Thanks for doing this today. My first question is for you, Renata. We've talked a lot about how the quality of play has risen this year, thanks to all the great rookies like Izzy that have come in and made an immediate impact. But in terms of coming off of the 24-game season last year and being with a lot of the same teammates that you had last year, how much has that cohesiveness and carrying over maybe helped raise the game as well as you guys are in a more comfortable position?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The level of play is elevated this season. Credited a lot to the rookie class that's coming in. They've been amazing. But I think what's been really cool, as you mentioned, there's a lot of us that were together last season and again this season. But what was cool is over the summer we got to train together, and it's been a long time. I don't think it's ever really happened where in the off season you're training with non-national team players as well. And since now it's a full-time job, we had non-national team players training with us every single day. And it was pretty incredible to see the strides that they made throughout the summer because they had that consistency. They were on the ice on a regular basis, working on skills. So I think it's you can just see it right away the moment training camp started, and you can see it now that league play started, is that the gap is closing amongst players, and it's been really cool to see just the cohesion that we've had. And just to see how prepared everyone was for season 2. And it's definitely played into the elevated play.
Awesome. And one more quickly for both of you. I'm in Vancouver, so I can't wait to see you guys here for the Takeover Tour in January. Just your thoughts on playing in Vancouver and maybe being in the arena, sort of the site of one of the most iconic gold medal games of all time.
I can start off. I'm so excited to head to Vancouver. I think the group is really excited. We have a handful of players that are from there or from out west, so it'll be kind of a homecoming for them as well. But really excited to kind of get into markets that we don't usually get to play in front of. Hearing the ticket sales have been incredible, and just knowing the history, of that building. Obviously, a lot of us watch the Canucks on a regular basis as well. So just knowing too, one of the Olympic Games being played there. So a really cool venue, and I think a city and a market that we're excited to visit and show them what PWHL hockey is.
I'm super excited. I was actually born in Seattle, so I love the West Coast. We go out there sometimes as a family in the summers, but I've never been to Vancouver, so I'm excited to explore. I'm sure the fans are going to be really passionate there, so it's going to be really exciting.
That's awesome. Well, we're really looking forward to having you both. Thanks.
Thanks, Carol. We'll go next to Carissa, please.
Time to do this. Carissa Donkin with CBC Sports. To start with you, Izzy, I was chatting with your coach at Cornell, Doug, and he was talking about how you had such a unique path to get to the PWHL. You didn't necessarily have that path, through all of the USA Hockey development programs coming up, and how it's, a really good story for other players to see how you made it here. How much has that driven you throughout your career?
I think it's definitely played a factor. I mean, I started playing hockey when I was a little older than most people, I guess. I started when I was 8, and even then I didn't have any family members that played hockey. So my dad actually put me in mini mites, which is for 5-year-olds, with my brother who was 5 at the time. So it was kind of a weird start. And then I didn't end up playing girls hockey until I was a bit older. I played with the boys growing up. And then, yeah, I mean, I didn't play on a U18 team or really get invited to any of those camps, but I never really thought of that as my goal at that time. I didn't even really realize like where I could go with hockey. So that never really crossed my mind. Was I was like disappointed or anything that didn't work out for me. But then as I got older, I think when I wasn't making those teams or wasn't getting invited, it kind of just fueled me to be like, okay, like I didn't get invited. Like I want to prove them wrong that I'm better than some of those players and that I can play at this level. And then I think obviously going to Cornell was one of the best decisions ever. Doug and the coaching staff really helped me. They instilled a lot of confidence in me, especially my senior year, that, maybe I could make it at the next level. And then obviously I was lucky to end up in Toronto to hopefully keep developing. But I just never really got discouraged by the international stuff. And yeah.
Doug also described you as a student of the game, and I know you have lots of interests in sports management off the ice as well, and in some of the jobs you've had in the summer. What have you learned just through the beginning of your PWHL career beyond the physicality? Because I know we've already talked about that, but what has kind of surprised you the most, whether that be on the ice or just some of the stuff you've seen off the ice with hockey operations or all that stuff? Because I know you're interested in that too.
Yeah, I think on the ice, like everyone's just so good, right? So you can't get away with holding the puck too long or can't skate yourself out of certain situations. And I think also just in practice, getting to go against some of the best players in the world is honestly amazing. Like last year or in college, you could kind of get away with taking a day off, and you definitely can't do that here. So that's definitely different, but I think it's really good. And in terms of organizational stuff, I mean, um, it's professional hockey, right? I don't think I knew what to expect, but we have an amazing staff. So many different people wear different hats. So it's been really cool to see and be a part of just all the different what it takes to run a professional hockey team. So that's been cool to get to be around that and everything that goes into that. So yeah, I guess that's been new to me too.
Great. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
We'll go Maddie and then Jolene. We've got time for both your questions in this session.
Hi guys, Maddie Hertzik with the AP. This is for Renata. You mentioned having like a bit of an excitement seeing your teammates grow in the off season, the change in that level of elevation. What was your process like? What was your mind like processing not only the growth that your teammates that you were training with were improving, but also seeing how talented the rookie class was? What was it like seeing like starting to put together like those two were going to combine for this year's roster?
Yeah, I was actually at the draft in Minnesota, and I remember sitting in like the audience being like, "Oh my gosh, like our roster just got so much stronger, so much deeper." But then you kind of realize like every roster got stronger, every roster got deeper. So right off the bat, coming out of the draft, like I knew it was going to be exciting. But I think it was just kind of like midway through the summer and just seeing the commitment from all the players. We had a really great training group just outside of Toronto. There was players that weren't from Toronto as well that were training with us, and just to see everyone's level of commitment and pushing each other in the gym and on the ice. And yeah, as soon as we hit training camp, like the level of intensity was far beyond last year from that beginning of the year point. So I think it's just a combination of the two, just expectations, players coming back knowing what to expect, and then the rookies and just how strong that rookie class was. Just the two of them, it's just it's making the league that much deeper. So yeah, it's exciting.
Thanks so much.
I guess it's me, Jolene Latimer.
Go ahead, Jolene.
Thank you. Renata, these two questions are for you. The first one is, now that you're a couple games into the second season, what are you noticing on the ice that's the biggest difference from first season? Is it more physicality? Is it more scoring? Is it confidence, like, or something I don't know. Like, what are you noticing?
Well, right off the bat, it seems like everyone's power plays are a lot better. Last year, I think it took a while for the power plays across the league to get clicking. And I think in general, the power play percentages were lower, but I think you're seeing already they're a lot higher. And then the other one, I mean, we talk about all the time is the physicality, but to be honest, it's even more physical. I think Emma Maltese and I were in the locker room the other day, just looking at each other being like, we're getting smoked out there everywhere. And I think we're two players that like to be physical as well. So it's it's been more physical, and I think there's been more goal scoring with it. And those are two exciting things for the players, but also for the fans.
Awesome. And then last question, when you're having casual conversations about hockey with fans, family, friends, how often does the question of expansion come up?
Well, now that there's, a little bit of dropping it in the media, I think more and more people are talking about it. Like when expansion is going to happen. I think it's exciting that there's talks of it. We don't know much details as players exactly if next year there will be expansion. It sounds like they're exploring the idea of it, but I think there's markets that are excited to have PWHL hockey in their area, and when the league believes it's time to expand, I think it'll be great because as you can tell, the depth is continuing to evolve. So lots of conversations around expansion.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you all for your questions, and to Renata and Izzy for your time this afternoon. We look forward to seeing the Scepters back on the ice next Wednesday in New York for the Sirens home opener at Prudential Center. Thank you for your time. Moving right along with Montreal Victoire, we welcome in goaltender André Desbiens, bienvenue André, as well as rookie Kayla Barnes. We'll get them spotlighted on the screen here, and we'll, as you can begin compiling your questions by raising your digital hand, I'll open with a couple for the players. Exciting week to start the season. Kayla, you're first in the PWHL, 2 home games, and then 1 at the Canadian Tire Center. You're able to score your first career goal. Just take us through your how you've been able to adapt and adjust to life in the PWHL.
Yeah, it's been great so far. Our team is awesome. Our setup is awesome here in Montreal, and our fans are awesome. Our opening night was one of the coolest moments I've been a part of, and obviously got my first goal, which was also a really exciting milestone for me as well. So I'm having a lot of fun and settling in really well here in Montreal.
And Anne-Renee, your second season in the league, just tell us about what it's like to be back with your teammates, playing in front of the passionate fans at Place Bell, and then even with the just overall the experience to start and getting to know your teammates like Kayla and others.
Yeah, obviously a little different than last year. It's really nice to see all the work that people have done in the off season, and yes, it was a long off season, but everybody was ready for puck drop. It was an exciting time. Obviously, opening game in Laval was truly special, very loud. Our fans are amazing, like Kayla said, and then yeah, getting to know the little kids. We call them the kids. We have older rookies too. We have Shelbin that is like 30 years old, but it's fun to see those players coming from overseas, but also the university graduates having an impact right away in the league as well.
We'll see, Anne-Renee. We'll take questions now. If you have questions, I see some hands raised. We'll continue to compile that queue for the next 15 minutes or so. Cedric, s'il vous plaît. Oh, Cedric, you were unmuted. There you go.
Sorry about that. Can you ask a question in French?
Oui.
Ok. Oui, nous on est une radio francophone, donc la question est seulement. The question is only for Anne-Renée Desbiens. We are Shock FM, a French community radio in Toronto. Donc bonjour Anne-Renée. Moi j'apprends à vous connaître et j'ai lu un peu des informations sur vous. Déjà la première chose, comment est la perception de l'équipe depuis que vous avez commencé l'année dernière? Parce qu'on sait que Montréal c'est vraiment la ville du Canadien. Donc comment ça se passe pour vous, les victoires?
De notre côté, ça se passe très bien. Les gens, les partisans nous supportent énormément. Beaucoup de gens des médias aussi qui sont présents sur une base régulière autant aux entraînements qu'aux parties. Et puis, je pense que justement, on fait notre place dans le cœur, oui, des Montréalais, mais aussi des Québécois. Donc, c'est vraiment un succès sur toute la ligne de notre côté ici à Montréal.
Ok. Maintenant, sur le plan de votre préparation personnelle, j'ai lu que votre modèle, c'était Patrick Roy. Est-ce que c'est quelqu'un que vous avez déjà pu rencontrer ou est-ce que vous avez d'autres inspirations maintenant en tant que professionnel?
Oui, j'ai eu plusieurs inspirations, dépendamment. Quand j'étais jeune, c'est certain que Patrick Roy, c'est un gardien de but québécois qui avait beaucoup de succès. En vieillissant, j'ai aimé Carey Price, Kim Saint-Pierre, Manon Réaume. Je peux pas dire qu'il y a vraiment un seul gardien de but ou une seule gardienne de but que j'aime. J'aime ça, prendre des choses un petit peu tout le monde et puis de m'améliorer de cette façon-là.
Et ma dernière question, et merci de nous avoir donné un peu de votre temps, c'est jusque-là, de l'expérience au total, est-ce que vous pensez qu'il y a encore des améliorations à faire pour améliorer votre confort en tant qu'athlète ou c'est vraiment vous avez tout ce dont vous avez besoin?
Il y a toujours des améliorations qui sont possibles. Il faut comprendre que la Ligue est jeune. Le premier match, il y a un an, n'était pas encore joué. Donc, c'est certain que c'est un travail de collaboration entre, oui, les joueuses, les membres du personnel, les opérations de la Ligue. Donc, il y a beaucoup de travail qui se fait de ce côté-là. Ça peut toujours être mieux, mais on est à un bon point de départ et puis tout le monde est ouvert d'esprit, justement, de ce côté-là.
Ok, merci beaucoup. Bonne chance pour la saison. And thank you, Kayla, and good luck to you for the season as well.
Thank you.
Merci, Cedric. Continue with questions. Go ahead, please, Ian.
Thanks, Paul. Ian Kennedy from the Hockey News. Kayla, I just want to ask you first about what's been the biggest adaptation that you've had to make as a player on the ice, or that you found the most challenging coming into the PWHL this season from the NCAA?
Yeah, I think the physicality obviously is, something that is a bit of an adjustment from the NCAA. Obviously, we've had some physicality in international play, but it's a different level here. Considering these are all the best players in the world, every team is a challenge. So, physically the speed of play and then adjusting to a new team as well. This is not only are we playing against these teams for the first time, but we're all playing together for the first time as well. So just kind of learning each other and working through that as well is, not necessarily a challenge, but something that we've been working through and, I've been working through personally as well.
And for Anne Renee, Montreal gets 4 stops on the takeover tour, including a Western road trip from Vancouver to Seattle to Denver. What will that experience be like? Because that's probably the longest road trip in professional women's hockey history, perhaps, making that trek. What will that be like, and for the potential of playing that way in the future, having a Western Conference at some point?
I think it's very exciting. You get a lot of the road games out of the same time, so you don't have to pack your suitcase 4 times a month. You can kind of do it all at once. But obviously, very interesting cities. I've been fortunate enough to play in Seattle and Vancouver in the past, and the crowds have always been so supportive of women's hockey. So I can't wait to get back there. And being in Colorado and Denver for the first time is also going to be pretty exciting. So yes, it's going to be an adaptation. We'll definitely use that time to spend more quality time as a team, maybe do some team building activities in the different, but also explore and enjoy your time as a team together.
Thank you both.
Continue with question from Mike, please.
Hi, Mike Gantry from the Toronto Sun. Kayla, this one's for you. I'm interested to hear, you talked a little bit about adapting on ice. What about off ice? Your new country, new league, new language. How are you adapting, and just how's that going?
Yeah, honestly, the transition has been really smooth. I was a little nervous at first just because you never know what to expect, but it's been amazing ever since I got here. The girls here and the staff here have been so welcoming and helpful with anything that I have needed. And we honestly have a really great group of girls here. We all, get along. We're always laughing, having a good time at the rink. So it's been a really smooth transition. And honestly, I feel really honored to be, around such a great group of women every day.
We just talked with some of the Toronto girls, and Izzy Daniel was mentioning that, her transition has been helped a little bit with having Julia Gosling as a roommate. I'm wondering, is that a situation that's happening in Montreal as well?
Yeah, definitely. My roommate is my college teammate, Jennifer Gardner. Obviously we're really good friends, and it made the transition a lot smoother, I would say. You have one person that from your past or your past team, and that makes things a little bit more comfortable. So that was definitely helpful when I first got here.
All right. Thanks, Gail.
Yep.
Next question from Maddie, please.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, Maddie Herzig from the AP. My question's for Kayla. A lot of the conversation around the beginning of the year has been how the rookies have made an immediate impact on the league this year. What has it been like, kind of almost changing your expectations from what you may have thought the league was going to look like when you were watching the league last year versus seeing the rookies step up and knowing that the talent level has increased and being able to play at a higher level?
Yeah, coming in as a rookie, like you watched the league last year, and you obviously know that, there's talent in this league. And as a rookie, all you hope to do is come in and, play the way you know how to play and make an impact in any way that you can. So I guess my perspective kind of coming in was, I was drafted here for a reason, and, they want me on this team for a reason. So just trying to play my game and what I can bring to the table to help, our organization win hockey games ultimately, and, just be a good person off the ice as well.
And then to quickly follow up on that, what was it like being able to get your first professional goal and to be able to do it so quickly in your career?
Yeah, it was a really exciting moment. The opportunity kind of just presented itself, and luckily I was able to take advantage of it. And at a moment in the game where we might have needed a little bit of a boost, so it was exciting. And I was happy to just be able to capitalize on that moment. But it's definitely something I definitely won't forget. And with Jen being here as well, and she assisted my goal and I assisted hers. It's a pretty cool story. So, definitely a moment that I won't forget.
Thanks so much.
Oh, Jolene, then Carissa, please.
Jolene Latimer with the score. Kayla, this question is for you. I know the takeover tour, as was already mentioned on this call, is headed out west. And as a California girl, what can you say about support for women's hockey over on the West Coast?
Yeah, born and raised California, West Coast. I think that the game is growing out there, and we have so many more girls playing on the West Coast, and so much more support for hockey. It just continues to grow, even from when I was a young kid playing and coming up in the system to now. So many more girls are playing, and people in general, kids in general, are playing and getting involved in hockey. And so I think it's really exciting that we get to go out there and kind of showcase the game, especially the women's game on that side, because I don't think we've had, there's been a couple rivalry series games there and whatnot, but this is a whole different, product that we can put out and show when it comes to women's hockey. So I think it'll be really exciting, not only for us, but for the fans as well.
Do you have any family or friends that are going to make the trip to Seattle or Vancouver just because it's closer to California, or have most of them planned to come out east to watch you?
I mean, both. They have my parents have already come up to Montreal, but I have family that will come to Seattle and Vancouver as well. My parents, my brothers still live out west, so it's an easier trek for them. So they'll get to come to those games, which will be really cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Go ahead, please, Carissa, to wrap this session.
Thanks, Paul. Carissa with CBC Sports. Thanks for taking the time, both of you. Appreciate it. Just a quick one for you, Kayla, about on the California theme. Dominic Petrie may not have been at the top of people's radar going into this season, but scored 3 goals in her first 3 games. I'm guessing you would have played, against her, with her growing up in California, and then obviously in college as well. What's it been like to see that start from her?
Yeah, it's been great. She's a little bit younger than me, so we never quite played on the same team, but I've played against her in college, and I knew her growing up. And she's not only a great kid, but a great hockey player. And just to see her absolutely exploding out of the gates is something that is super exciting, not only for her, but for girls in California to see. There's not a lot of us that have come out of California and are born there and make it to Division I or to the pro level. So to be able to show that for like I said, not only her but for little girls back at home, it's an awesome statement. And honestly, super excited for her, and